Get ready, Billie Jean, because we're gonna hit 88 miles per hour and go back to the future. Funk. First, what the funk is future funk? Funk is Latin for fumigar, which means to smoke, which later evolved into meaning something smelly and smoky, kinda like dank-ass kush. Funk is a term coined by African American jazz musicians in the 1960s for a style of music in which musicians would get down and boogie. This of course happens when you let the spirit of jazz inside your body. It can be fun when it's consensual. Funk music was predominantly popular in the 1970s along with disco and afros and bell-bottom pants with the boots with the fur. The whole club was staring at her. This music made people hit the floor. Next thing you know, shorty got low. Then in the 1980s, drum machines and synthesizers changed funk forever, bringing in electro-funk vibes. Let's also not forget Disco Demolition Night in 1979, where 50,000 people showed up to blow up disco funk records in the name of rock music. That's roughly the same amount of people that showed up to Ultra Music Festival in Miami, which started a riot and caused national news. You know, just a bunch of white people blowing up African, Latin, gay roots music ritualistically in front of the eyes of millions on television in the 70s. I'm sure that didn't have any long-lasting repercussions of any kind. That's kind of like a bunch of straight-edge XX pop punk people gathering a bunch of rap and hipster R&B albums in a stadium and blowing them up while chanting defend pop punk for an hour. Afterwards, funk music kind of died for 30 years because most record labels didn't want to pay black bands anymore because of the rising popularity of rap music. It was a lot easier to pay one rap musician than to pay an entire band. You know, systematic racial economics. For more info, please listen to the track Wesley's Theory by Kendrick Lamar and President George Clinton. So anyways, back to the future funk. Like I've said in my other video, future to me simply means adding a digital audio workshop sensibility to sampled old music. You know when music was made with soul and not in Pro Tools? Future is kind of like adding a post or new in front of new metal or adding a progressive in front of house, you know, it's just a cheap way to market your music as current. Future funk is like Vaporwave's more outgoing, trendy cousin who likes to go to the beach while drinking Pepsis in a vintage bikini while driving in a 1985 red Corvette in Tokyo. Yo. Future funk is a lot like New Wave Retro, only not because New Wave Retro is made entirely out of VSTIs trying to sound like retro synth, where future funk is more sample based. To make a future funk track, you're gonna need a couple of things. 1. A digital audio workshop. I use FL Studio, insert joke about that. 2. A Japanese funk sample. Japan was late on the funk soul train, so there are plenty of obscure Japanese funk tracks from the 80s out there in the wild. Since we live in the future, you can search for some online. 3. An understanding of sampling. In this video tutorial, I'll teach you how to sample using Fruity Slicer and Edison, as it's the easiest sampling tools to use in FL Studio. 4. Add some drums, some EDM formula, and you got yourself some funk from the future. 5. Now all you gotta do is find a gif of like Sailor Moon moving and then loop it over the music. It doesn't even need a sync. I mean, that's what artsy music does, AdSense revenue. So on YouTube, look up funk samples. Here's a playlist, funk soul samples. And now you can just select any one of these. I'm gonna choose a random one. I'm gonna choose the first one, Pupa, and see how that sounds. Sexy enough. Okay, so now what I normally do is I go to YouTube to MP3 and I click here and then I click on this and you drag whatever is in there and now you have an MP3 copy. Now MP3 degrades the sound, but honestly you're making future funk, so who the fuck cares? I'm just waiting for it to load. I have dial-up, so it's gonna take a couple days. Sushi. Okay, so now that that's done downloading, open up your DAW. The sample I downloaded was called Pupa Sour Sour, so right click it and then click Open an Audio Editor, which should open up an instance of Edison, which is the FL Studio native thing. So now we're gonna look for a sample. Right here is where the trumpet starts, so I also like putting on this infinity sign because it just loops it, so you can hear a good sample. So press play. So yeah, that's a pretty good loop. So now that we have this part highlighted, what I do is I open up FL Studio Fruity Slicer, which is like cool. So you open up the slicer and then you click this button right here that drags it and it drag it into the slicer. So now you have like a slicer thing of it. It should sound kind of funky at first, because it's just chopping up like the initial hits. Now most funk songs are like 120 beats per minute, so I'm slowing this down. and then it already detected the beats per minute, so you right click here, you click auto detect, and it stretches it to your project's tempo. Now in Fruity Slicer you have these three things right here. This is where you can open up a new beat, you can open up a sample, and right here is where it slices it. This is important, so click here and then go to beat, since this is kind of like a house song, since these all have house stuff. And then you click on the slicer here and you click quantize, so it quantizes your audio for you, and it sounds like this now. Alright, cool. So now we just have to put it in a mixer channel. To do that, right click to this track, or you can click up here and put it everywhere, but I'm just gonna put it on one. And now all we gotta do is add a kick. I'll be using a 1970s house kick because those are just easy to use from Vengeance. And now open up the piano roll or whatever you do, and then place a kick on every kick to make it future house, funk, whatever. And now it should sound like this. Now let's add some snares. This one sounds retro, super retro. Now to really take this beat up a notch and turn it into the future, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do the side chaining thing that everyone does.
Damn, son, where'd you find this?
Yeah. Put a limiter on it. Yeah. Now I'm in the future, I am a music producer. I'm reselling the past because I'm a lazy ass. Let's put a filter on this beat, yeah. Here's a fun game I like to play. It's called, each time you hear a future funk song that has a cutoff filter, you take a shot. And you'll be fucking dead in an hour. So to do this, you click the thing, create an automation clip, and then you drag the thing, and then you put another thing, and now you have a thing that goes like this. Oh yeah, I can't wait to put a gif of Sailor Moon on this bitch! So now that I have taught you how to make future funk, I want to show you this funk track that I made myself out of obscure random samples of Japanese culture and funk songs. So I hope y'all babies enjoy this. Thank you all for subscribing to my channel. You are funky, and if you're not subscribed to me, well then that's awkward. If you like this video, share it on those fancy social media platforms or hit me up on Twitter or Facebook to say hi. Also, my new EP is coming out really soon. Here's a short funky aesthetic I made for you guys. If you want to check out my other tutorials, click on the playlist on my channel. Thank you. 食なせのピーナよのウィある家が上手なバリガル
You might have to buy like French and Japanese and gibberish, right?
Yep, ma-
Hi, Omachi.
Egotistic testicular pheromones are particularly